World War II greatly devastated the economies of the world and required extreme amounts of reconstruction, but the U.S. was able to rebuild and prosper, leading to the decade of the 50s.
Fashion in the 1950s was a time of dresses and skirts. The most popular for women were full skirts, long dresses, and eventually shorter clothes. Fashion for men were suits, the preppy look, sweaters with vests, and the military look.
Born on January 8, 1935, Elvis Presley was viewed as one of the most significant cultural icons of the 20th century, often referred to as the King of Pop. Frank Sinatra was one of the most influential music artists of the 1950s. Sinatra ruled the stage with hit songs like Fly Me to the Moon and My Way. Nicknamed Satchmo, Satch, or Pops, Louis Armstrong dominated the jazz culture and swooped fans off their feet with his sweet blues tunes. Armstrong captivated the country and changed music history.
Singing in the Rain was released in 1952, and it became an instant favorite to all viewers. Stars such as Debbie Reynolds, Gene Kelly, and Donald O'Connor delighted audiences of all ages. Cinderella was viewed as the greatest critical and commercial hit for the Walt Disney Studio since Snow White. Cinderella is a classic and has been remade many times for all ages to enjoy. Superman was a TV show that was played by George Reeves, and he was popular for saying truth, justice, and the American way, which is an allusion to the war.
Marilyn Monroe was not only a successful actress and singer during this time, but also became a popular sex image. She redefined the social norm of women and pushed the limits of society with her music and style. James Stewart was a popular movie star during this time. He is most famous for his role as George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life in 1946. John Wayne was the cowboy of the decade. His Western films captivated and mesmerized any audience that watched his boots clack and horse gallop through the West. As the sweetheart of the 50s, Audrey Hepburn took to the films as she starred in her biggest hit, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I never could do that.
It's easy.
I Like Ike was the campaign slogan for Dwight D. Eisenhower. The phrase was put on buttons and bumper stickers to help promote Eisenhower and gain voters.
Religion in the 50s peaked, and many Americans believed in some type of religion. Most people were either Christian or Catholic, and Americans started to go to church more. After the way people started to believe that peace can come to America, the American dream at that time was to have a big happy family, a nice home, and be wealthy.
Dwight D. Eisenhower was president of the U.S. from 1953 to 1961, and he was an Army general during World War I before he became president.
That at one time could tolerate 3 or 4.
Adlai E. Stevenson was an American lawyer and politician who was known for his demeanor and debates. He spoke for the Democratic Party and was highly opinionated. The Korean War started in 1950. America went to war with North Korea to stop the spread of communism, but was unsuccessful.
March to the rear. Seoul, too, falls into United Nations hands, this time not as a prime military.
Technology in the 50s boomed when the hydrogen bomb developed and changed the world. The race to space also developed when America tried to launch a satellite into the air but failed. After the war, women who worked kept their jobs, and that caused for the employment rate for women to increase. From 1950 to 1959, the number of employment rose 18%. After the war and the Great Depression, young men that fought in the war came home ready to start a family. 50 million babies were born by the end of 1950.
The first universal credit card was introduced by the Diners Club Incorporated in 1950. The card allowed members to charge the cost of restaurant bills only. The transistor radio is a small portable radio receiver that uses transistor-based circuitry and was invented in 1954. Car production increased during the 50s and cars became more popular. The most popular car was the 1957 Chevy, and it is still loved today.